welcome. It's a beautiful Monday afternoon. And welcome to Great Convos, where we always say whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. I'm Roger Caesar, and that gentleman over there.
Hi, Roger. I'm Alexandre Matt. Today, I'm the outer voice guy, and you're the inner voice guy. We were going to be funny guys, but something happened, Roger.
Yes. First and foremost, let's say hello to our loyal listeners. Put it in the chat. Let's hear from you. Let's hear where you are coming from. And of course, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we always appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yes, Alex, things change sometimes on the fly. And unfortunately, we were so excited to have Marco join us today and talk about the power of the voice from the comedic world, but he is under the weather and he will not be able to join us. He sends his deepest apologies and says that he will join us next week. So for those of you who were wanting to come and to see him, we want you to stay for this episode, but please join us next week when we will have that conversation with Marco Giorgio. In the meantime, we thought, let's talk about something that is near and dear to both of us, and in fact, near and dear to a lot of people. And this came from something that happened a few weeks ago from my birthday. We're going to be talking about your inner voice and the power of that inner voice. Alex, first and foremost, your ideas quickly before I even get into it. When we had to make this change all of a sudden and start talking about this topic.
Well, because this season we're talking about the power of your voice, and it's a lot to do with when you either you go on stage in front of many people, or even if in a little group or one-on-one, your voice has power. You have power to change. But before you express your voice outwardly, there is a voice inside of you as well. And I've been wondering, since we put this topic out, does your inner voice have even more power than your outer voice?
Yeah, this is what it comes down to. And we are encouraging our listeners to please chime in, join in this conversation. I think it will be great to hear from you as well with regards to this. But talking about where this all came from, a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, I celebrated my birthday. And among the gifts that I had received from friends and from family, the one that really, really touched me more than anything else was a gift from my daughters. They had given me a few other things, but this one was really important. And I wanted to share this. And I did a post on this, Alex, right afterwards, but it's a jar. And I know that we can't really see what it says on the jar. Maybe if I come a little closer.
Yeah, I can read it. Self-affirmation jar for the days to keep going.
Right? And they gave this to me, and it's just a whole bunch of different handwritten, I might add, affirmations that they said, hey, Dad, sometimes for those days when you're not feeling yourself, you're doubting yourself at times, or you have those moments when you're wondering if everything that you're doing is working. Stick your hand into this jar and pull out an affirmation and read it. And today, the one that I got from them, again, I don't know if everybody will be able to read this, but I'm going to try and see if we can get it here.
Let's see. I have the power to make positive changes in my life. I am strong and resilient, and I can learn from any setback. So the jar is full of those.
Right. And it has different ones that they wrote. They took the time to write these for me and put it in this jar. And so every time I read one, I put it off to the side, and they come back and they will put others into the jar as they see fit for me, so that every day I see something new. And it was fascinating to me, because sometimes you don't realize that your inner voice starts to play tricks on you and tells you you're not doing well, or this is not going to work, and all of those negative thoughts. And yes, sometimes there are positive ones, but those negative thoughts sometimes takes over and at times makes you feel like maybe everything that you're doing isn't right. And here's what I wanted to say. I think that there are times when a lot of people, they may see the success in others and think, oh, nothing goes wrong, or they don't have those type of thoughts. But the truth is, they do, including myself. I'm pretty sure yourself too, and those who are listening as well. So little things like this gives me that reminder, and I really appreciated that. And this is where I wanted to go, is if those are moments that you have had, and how do you deal with those inner thoughts, those voices that are so powerful in our heads.
Hmm. And sometimes those voices in our heads, we don't realize how strong they are, and or we don't realize the effect that they can have.
Mhm.
And you see, what you're showing here is a great example of what the power that we have to change our own perspective.
Yeah.
And this is probably something, well, it looks like a great gift that you can give for someone, but you can also probably make a self gift. You could write these affirmations and put them in a jar for yourself.
Mhm.
If nobody's doing it for you, you do it for yourself,
Right.
and it can probably change the whole outcome of your day, your week, your month, your year, your career. Because when we have a negative voice inside of us, it has it seems to me obvious that it has the opposite effect. Was it
Mhm.
Ford who said, "You whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are right." If you
That's right.
if you tell yourself, I'm not really good at doing this. I don't think I'm able to uh, to work effectively today, or oh man, I'm so tired today. I don't think I can work. If you're already saying those things inside of yourself, that's going to resonate outwardly in your behavior. If we can flip it over and change our inner thoughts to be positive, oh, I'm excited today. I'm going to put all the energy that I have into making this a wonderful day, and I will be as effective as I can. I will call my clients and etc. If
Mhm.
you start like that, then wouldn't that logically make for a better outcome?
Oh, most definitely. And it's funny that you said that, because currently I'm taking a transformation course, and it's for business. But part of that process is working with yourself, your inner self, how you see yourself. Where do you see yourself going? What are the limited beliefs that you have, the things that are stopping you? And that's where you have to dig deep and start looking within those voices that are sometimes in our heads. Uh, you know, time and time again, that's what stops you from getting to that next level. We hear this all the time, where you're almost there, but you don't think, because because of how hard it is to get to that next level, that you're going to get there. And sometimes you're this close, but then inside your head starts saying, I don't think I can do anymore. I
Mm.
don't think I can do this. And that's what stops you from going from good to great. Oftentimes, please, again, put in the chat if you have had a moment where this has happened to you, or you can tell us about a situation where you were this close and this here stopped you from believing. Man, Alex, this is crazy.
Right. Now, the inner voice, it comes from, well, obviously from within. It comes from ourselves, but sometimes can that be triggered by a voice that came from someone else?
Yeah, exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
So
doubt. No doubt.
I've heard this multiple times, and it's probably happened to me as well. If sometimes the limiting beliefs or the limiting thoughts that we have started somewhere else, started from someone who told us, "Oh, I don't think you can do this.
Mhm.
Well, it's too difficult to do," or
Right,
you you look tired. I don't think you can survive another day in this job." Uh,
right.
if other people tell you that, then you'll start believing it as well, and you'll start repeating those inner thoughts to yourself. So here's a question that I put right here that you can
Mhm.
answer also in the chat. Sometimes our inner voice, it is positive, but other times it is not. So most of the time, do you like it? Is it
Mhm.
positive, or do you have to put an extra effort to keep it in check?
Yeah, here's Kathy. Hello, Kathy. Shout out to you. Saying, sadly, I feel like my mom's negativity pops in, and it is in my inner monologue, and I'm constantly working on it. Yeah, sometimes it comes from childhood, even. It could go as far as childhood, where you are constantly ridiculed, or maybe it is through peer pressure, things that have been said to you by kids. So bullying and all this that has caused you to feel that you cannot achieve anything. And even as an adult, how many times do we fail at something and automatically may say, well, I didn't do it, I'm not going to try again, right? Or embarrassment. All these things that are happening on the external side of it turn around and it can be internally stopping us from trying to move forward to do more.
Yeah. And Kathy chimes on about bullying. Bullying can have much longer impact than we could ever imagine. Hey, look,
Mm,
we're of a certain age, and we can still remember those that have been unkind to us when we're children, or
yeah.
maybe we can even remember when we have been unkind to other people. Maybe
Hmm.
not you, Roger,
No,
but
no, no. I'm
no.
just as guilty at times. I can say that. We've all had those moments, so it's true.
Hmm. Man, I just remember in school. Whew, now we're gonna go deep.
Yeah.
Uh, I was bullied. It was normal,
Hmm.
and one way for me to deal with it was to try to have that same behavior on others.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
I'd say I didn't have many opportunities, but when I did, I did take advantage of it. You can say it that way.
Right.
And I'm not proud of it, Roger, but it's something that happened where I would have said mean things to other kids, and I I I hope that it has not had a super long lasting effect uh, on them growing up. But I know that it
Mhm.
can. And if whatever whew, whatever I've said to my colleagues in the past has impacted them in their life as on an ongoing basis, man, I wish I
Right.
could take it back or at least find them and apologize. Roger,
But
this might be
but
I've never
hold on.
shared this
I like
openly, but this might be a trigger for me, for us to seek out those people to whom we have been unkind, and apologize and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, I mean, my question was to you was, did you feel that you felt vindicated by doing that in that moment, like saying, "Hey, well, if they're doing it to me, I'm going to do it to other people." And then the second question that I'd ask you, and of course I'll talk about too, is when do you feel that that wasn't what you needed to do? And you said that's not the way to handle things. But again, because it's how it affected you, now you've made other people feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, first question: how did I feel better by having a negative, um, by saying negative comments? No, I don't think so. Not better. Maybe like a short-term satisfaction,
Yeah.
but not really feeling good. And when did I really understand that that's not the right thing to do? Uh, Probably um, close to the end of high school.
Mm,
I mean, when I I think it's a friend who let me know, who let me understand it's okay to be nice
mm,
to everyone. It's more pleasing. It's
mhm,
uh, it's much more positive for everyone.
mhm.
So that changed my approach, and man, I strive to be kind with everyone.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Alex, even today, sometimes it's very easy for us to just lash out and not think about what we're saying to somebody. And I'm human. We're all human here. Uh, I can say that there are times when I look back at moments where I could have calmly handled a situation or said something differently in a situation, and man, it just ate me inside. That's how I did it. But yes, the best thing obviously was to go to that person and talk about it. And why? Because that lingering effect can go in two ways. Either it's anger and we're just upset with each other and we don't talk, or that person goes back thinking in their minds, is this truly how bad I am? Is this truly, am I did I do something that was so horrible to make him say that? So, these things could linger. And I look at it from even from the perspective of us as speakers going out there and speaking. And for me to go on stage, is there times when I'm in my head? Sure, there are. If it's big moments, there are times when I will have to truly get out of my head. But if somebody turned around in that moment, and I've had this happen, I've had it happen where somebody said something to me that was somewhat negative just before I was speaking. And that's the thought that was in my head
Hmm.
in that moment. And I had to try and get it out. So that voice sometimes can overwhelm you. And then your performance, when you go out to speak or to do something, it pales in comparison to what it could have been if you had gone there with a positive mindset.
Right. May I ask you to share what was said?
Yeah, I mean, it was a while back. I was about to compete at a contest, and somebody who I thought was a true friend at the time, this is a few years ago, but a person who I thought was a true friend to me came to me and said, "Oh, you're competing. You're going to be competing." And I said, "Yes, I'm thinking about doing it." And they said, "Oh, I hope they beat you." And I, what? What? And I said, "Oh, you know what? Because you're so good, I want somebody. You'll bring the competition up, and I'm just hoping that somebody will be able to beat you because they'll lift their levels higher." I remember stepping back because I could see the awkwardness between us because it was almost like they felt, "Oh my God, I should never have said that." But they were trying to change it around in that moment to try to make it sound somewhat positive. But the damage was done because it was in my head and saying, "Wow, am I going to be walking into a competition where the judges, I don't know who will be there now. Will they just
Right.
turn around and not let me win for this reason?" And so I was in my head for a while. And you know what? Subsequently, I decided not to compete because of it, simply because
On
of
that
that.
on that same for that same
That year,
contest. Huh.
that contest, I decided not to compete because I
Right.
said, I don't want, if somebody's saying this, I would hate it if I go up there and I give my best and I'm purposely held back from winning because of that. So I had no idea,
Yeah.
because I
And
knew the person had influence. I had no idea if they were talking like this with other people.
right. And you didn't know if anybody else had the same thought of, I hope he doesn't win, even if
Yes,
even if he does really well.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that is
So
a
the
little
thought in
strange.
my head, the thought in my
Yeah.
head at the moment was, "Oh my God, am I that bad because I work hard at my craft? Am I that bad? Is people all around me thinking this way?" And so it was a powerful voice in my head in that moment, thinking I didn't have the confidence to say, "Let me just still go out there and do what I got to do." I said, "No, you know what? Mm-mm. Because I felt that if I had gone and it did play out that way, that it would have affected me a lot more."
Wow. So you had that uh, conscience. You consciously knew what you were thinking and how that
Hmm.
would affect you on stage.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you approached this the topic of your inner voice on stage, because our inner voice affects our outer voice, sometimes making us stay silent in your case.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
whenever we have, we've been talking about during the whole season, the power of your voice. You want to use your voice to make change or to influence people around you. It starts internally. If you believe that you have that power, then you will have it. You will be able to wield it when you take the stage, whether it's an official stage or not. But if you have limiting beliefs like what you've just shared, then it might hinder you. You might stay silent, or if you do take the stage, you might not have the impact that you want.
Yeah. And I think that was what I was more afraid of, that because it was in my head, now I'm looking around the room and thinking, who is it that's thinking this way as well? Now, all of a sudden, my performance wouldn't be the same that I would if I had come in there with a clean thought process.
Right.
Right.
You're talking about
that can happen. And sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to cut you off there. That can happen even on a regular basis. Alex, let me ask you, how many times have you had moments where you're going on stage and maybe a thought that has been something happened during the day or something was said to you that is still lingering in your mind? Do you feel like you go on stage and perform to the best of your ability if that's still sitting there, especially if it's something tough?
Well, yeah. And now, and I'm going to answer with something that I've done that is not useful. So if you've got some negative thoughts in your mind as you go on stage, whether it's about that presentation or not, of course, it's going to affect it. So a question we could ask from our audience too is, how do you train your inner voice to come back to a positive voice in order to help you on stage or off stage? You're talking about speech contests. When I started competing in 2009, I remember having the same sort of thoughts that your friend had of, I hope that he doesn't win because I want to be better. I hope that he trips or something so that I can go on top. That's not a positive way to see things, because when he doesn't trip, I'm like, oh, darn it. Oh man, now I'm gonna have to go there and maybe not win. So it's all of it is negative, rather than thinking, I hope that he does the best that he can, and that I hope that I can do the best that I can. So when I understood that hoping for the worst in other people on stage is not the right approach, I started thinking, before going on stage, positive thoughts of, I'm going to be great, and the audience will love me, and I'm going to win the trophy. All these positive thoughts. Sounds positive, right? Unfortunately, those kinds of thoughts have less power than you might think. And it's Mark Hunter, my coach and 2009 world champion of public speaking. A few years later, when I was telling him, this is what I say before going on stage, my positive thoughts, I'm going to win the trophy, I'm going to be great, people are going to love me. He said, you have no power on those things. You can't control the judges. You can't control the audience. And you don't even know, the judges. You can't wish you will have the trophy. You do have the power on how you will be on stage.
That's right.
So he got me to change all of my thoughts before going on stage to something like, I have a message that can change the world. I'm going to give hope for a better world to the audience members. And by having that, it changes the focus of the positive thoughts from what other people might think to what I can do, the power that I have. And just that small change of that inner voice before going on stage makes all the difference. It also made me less nervous when going on stage, because I was thinking about the audience rather than centering on myself.
Wow, Alex, look how we turned an unfortunate situation with our special guests into a great conversation that even had our listeners involved as well. Shout out to everybody who sent messages, and of course, even McKinley here. Shout out to McKinley. How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us today, giving us some books that we can also read and learn more about how to handle these inner voices that we may have. Well, Alex, look, the reality is we could have been in our heads today when our guest didn't show up, and we could have sat here and said, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" But sometimes what's the greatest thing about these moments is how you handle it. And in this situation, we turn this into a very positive situation. And sometimes that's what we have to do. In fact, this is what we should be doing, trying our very best to look at what is the positives that could come out of this. What are things that we can look forward to, even in the most negative situations? If somebody says something, well, is it true? Really? Is it really true to you? Is it who you are? Think about it from that perspective. And sometimes in just that moment, when you turn that negative into a positive and figure out a better way to handle it, that inner voice comes smaller and smaller, and it doesn't affect you as much. Is it going to? Sure it will. But let's try amongst ourselves to try and figure out ways to turn that negative into a positive by looking logically at situations that are told to us. Alex,
Great.
Clean it up for us.
Hey, let's keep it positive, man. This morning when you told me Marco couldn't be with us, I think we already had the positive voices in our heads of, all right, how do we turn this? The word that you used was, how can we spin this? All right, let's concentrate on what we've got to do now and make it great. Next week, we're going to go back to the power of a punchline with Marco Giorgio, professional comedian and MC. It should be funny. It should be thoughtful, and hopefully he won't swear too much, as he has a tendency to do when he's on stage. Be with us next week.
All right. And as we always say, have the conversations even after you leave here with your friends, your community, and your family. All the best to you. And as we always say, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. Take care. Have a wonderful week.
Bye-bye.